Hi, welcome to week 6 of Dancing with the Stars. I'm Renee.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are the tapping duo. So let's get started on who danced first.
Okay. I believe it was Patty and Artem. They did a quick step to Heat Wave. How do you think they did?
You know, bless Patty. She's doing a really good job. She's the same each week to me. She is seeming to be loosening up on each dance, so she's letting herself go a little bit more as she gets more and more comfortable. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
I found that they tend to keep Patty in one place for the beginning of the dance. And she too does a lot of posing. And then when they're ready to get started, he'll take her out of the circle or the square. But she's coming along.
She is, and she's got a lot more energy than she used to have. I think the dancing has helped her with that, which is always good at any age.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think Nasi and Derek were next.
They did a tango. Now, I didn't feel any passion in this tango. I thought it was really well executed, but I didn't find any passion. What did you think?
Well, I haven't felt chemistry with them through the whole thing. I think, you know, of all the dances last night, I thought that this would be perfect because you need to just look mad, not mad, but you need to look serious when you're doing the tango. And I thought, okay, we've got a dance that's going to help her be connected to Derek and be serious. But again, I didn't feel anything. I think it's beautifully executed because they're both phenomenal dancers, and she's an athlete, obviously. But still, there's that joy missing there that I wish they had.
And I don't know if all this cross-country traveling is even affecting that, because they are working together, but that's a lot of flying and a lot of traveling, and that's exhausting in and of itself.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. Okay.
Next was Willow and Mark. I do like Willow. I think I found her thinking a lot more in this particular dance, as opposed to just instinctively knowing where to go.
Yeah, she seemed a little off, even though she was still on. She seemed a little off what she was doing. I really thought she was dressed appropriate. I was really happy about that. She's 14 and she wasn't naked, so
yes,
that made me very happy.
Yes, and I even liked that the salsa wasn't overly sexified.
Yeah, because it can be very, very easily.
Yes.
Okay, who do we have next?
Next we have Robert and Kim. They are a cute couple. I love that they've developed such a nice friendship between them. They danced to Surfing Safari, and he was better than he was last week. What do you think?
Well, you know, one thing that he does is he reminds me of another man I used to have in my dance class years ago, and his feet personally wasn't with the music or anything, but he was the performer. So as long as he was smiling and he had that great look on his face and he was acting like he knew what he was doing, you really didn't notice that his feet weren't tapping. But Robert is the same way. Robert always looks like he's really having a great time, and I just get drawn in by him because of that great time that he's having. And I love that about Robert. And he looked so shocked that he was doing better. Like, oh my gosh, that he cares.
Yes.
I mean, I love that he cares.
I would agree that on the dance floor, he draws you in irrespective of what his feet are doing. He engages you from the second he gets going.
Yeah.
And he puts his whole self in.
And not everybody always does that. You know, they're concerned so much about the technical, which he still is, but he still powers through, and he doesn't go, okay, I'm totally giving up because my feet just aren't moving fast enough.
Yes.
You know, because what did they do last night? They did a jive, right? And a jive is really, really quick. I mean, it's not like a quick step, but the jive still takes a lot of energy. Yeah.
Next was Noah and Sharna. Now, I think Sharna's amazing. I think they have a great relationship. They work really well together. And even that package that had upset him, I loved seeing that side of him. Yeah,
I would agree with that too. I mean, he's battling so many things with just being, I don't know. I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it. But he did a great job. I thought Sharna did a great job interpreting the arm, the wave, and her hand went down and her head went down. And that made it kind of an optical illusion that his hip was moving correctly. And, you know, ballroom is all about the hips in all the dances. That's about the hips some way or another, and that she's incorporating his upper body is great. I think that they're going to have to step something up different. I can't believe he lifts her up and then he holds her there.
The only thought that I had on that was it was a very emotional number. I thought they both communicated it very well, and I have to give the hats off to the cameraman because I did see the hips. Because remember, the Roomba's the hips, and a lot of times the cameraman doesn't show the whole person, so you don't know if they have their hips.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Okay.
Next was Rumor and Val.
Okay, Rumor and Val. Go ahead. You go first.
Oh, it was a jazz number to the song Bootylicious. I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I wasn't as engaged because usually Val is the dominant, which a male should be in dance, but only in dance. No, I'm teasing. But they get to be a lead, and that he was a little confused with the jazz number to a dance called Bootylicious really threw him. And with him not being as strong, Rumor had to kind of step up, and she didn't carry them. And yet, I thought she did a nice job. It's not my cup of tea, kind of like Len. It wasn't his cup of tea. But I thought she did as great as she could for what she was given. And of course, the professionals that danced behind them were, Lindsay and the other girls. They're just amazing dancers to watch. So, and Rumor kept up with them, which I thought was really good
and
for her.
she had to, quote, lead them, right? She was at the head of the triangle and things. And
Well, in the package, it was showing, I think, Val on the floor with all fours, and he was trying to move his booty, and he just wasn't getting it. But I noticed in the dance itself, he never had to do that, so I scratched that. But with Val not being the dominant lead in that particular number for me, I didn't care for the number as much. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Did you?
Well, I
happen
found
to
it was
notice
a
that?
misfit for Rumor. And I thought that was interesting, which just leads to a different Riker and Allison question about music. Sometimes you wonder how the music's chosen for the group and how you do affect a music change that's perhaps not agreeable. Because Rumor went around asking people, what is Bootylicious? So it was obviously out of her zone of everyday thinking or acting.
Yeah. Okay.
Next we have Chris and Whitney. Chris.
We always say that. Chris. I have to tell you that he's still there is shocking for me. They must be voting for Whitney. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, she was the winner last year, so that might play a part.
Could be. They did a Viennese waltz. And I don't know if anybody noticed out there in Dancing with the Stars land, but of course he was surrounded again by a circle of horses. And she kept him in that circle for a lot of bars. And then all of a sudden they went out and did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I think maybe 4 to 6 times. And pose. And then moved over to the other side of the stage and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then ended back in the circle. Whitney's a lovely dancer that has beautiful lines. So it was a beautiful little dance to watch, but he wasn't asked a lot of. So I didn't think it was as great as the judges apparently did with the scores that they gave.
I would agree with you on that one because I find that when the stage is set up to corral the dancer into a small area, right off the bat I see limitation on, I'm thinking this person can't move across the floor or really dance. So perhaps they need to do a different staging.
Well, Whitney knows his abilities, so.
The last two were Riker and Allison. How'd you feel about them?
Oh, that's Patty. And Artem, here we go. Riker and Allison. Well, Riker, my goodness, his musicality is phenomenal, I love that they thought about him enough for the music that they originally got chosen. You got to remember, all the music has to be cleared first, or they could get sued. So when they decided not to do the, I forget the artist that they were going to use. Darn, I wanted to remember that. But anyway, and her music, her words were too raunchy, and that it wouldn't have been appropriate for Riker. That was awesome that they changed it. And made it better for him. And, to sit and know that he's going to go out and they only have a few days. and that he pulled that off because he's good.
Right.
The kid's good. You know, he's good like Rumor's good. They've got it naturally inside their body.
Yes. And he
So-
was able to do that in 2 days. Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday.
Just amazing.
Yeah. I really like how he throws his whole body into every dance. Each week. We're not talking just hips or just legs or just arms or his head or a smile. The whole body is doing every move all the way to the end of his fingertips. So,
Well, I think that I noticed him he adds his own style to even a style that's, I mean, he's progressing the style by adding his own moves, like you said. So I love that. That's really good. They also did a team.
yes, they divided up into 2 teams, Team YOLO and Team Trouble. Do you have a preference?
Well, on Team YOLO, we'll talk about that first. They had Willow and Mark, Nastia and Derek, Robert and Kim, and Noah and Sharna. Right?
Yes.
I thought there were a lot of tricks with Noah and Sharna, the lifting again, you know, things that showed his strength, which is great. Nastia with her gymnastics. And then you have Robert and Kim that did their cute little thing, which was good. He was actually on time in that little particular 32 counts, however many counts they get. And Mark and Willow did a little jivey type fun thing. So it was a cute number. It was a fun number. But with the people that they had that are so good, I think they tried to make it a little bit more professional than they needed to and have a little bit more fun.
I remember them commenting that they didn't have a lot of time for all 8 of them to practice at the same time. So I was very impressed with the professionals who were able to get their particular dancer on the right count and doing their parts where there was a whole group, so that when they did all come together, it was okay that they had practiced.
Oh, that's right.
separately.
Nastia had to leave. And Derek was doing 3 more shows and he learned it over FaceTime. But I'd expect that from him.
Right, but that they could put those pieces together separately, right? They learn it separately, and they came in and it blended beautifully. Because I just thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's great when you can do that, you know.
Yeah.
At least they have the technology to be able to do that now, which is tremendous. Okay, the other group was Team Trouble. And that was Riker and Allison, Patty Artem, Rumor Val, and Chris and Whitney. I enjoyed this number more. I don't know if it's because it was just a little bit more freestyle. Let me move. There we go. I want to make sure I see your beautiful face, Lisa. Chris's head is so big, you can't see your face. There we go. There she is. So anyway, I enjoyed this number. I thought it was full of a lot of personal type movement rather than tricks. I felt like they really had a good time. I thought Patty finally broke out of her shell. Finally was able to like boogie down like she probably does when she's in concert and really enjoy herself.
I thought the storytelling worked better too, with the whole Breakfast Club idea, and you had your nerds and you had your
Oh, that's true. There was
stories,
a
and
yeah.
I think that really helped also.
Yeah, you told a
Unite them.
story, and The Breakfast Club is, you know, hugely iconic movie.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's talk about last week's scores versus this week.
Well, let's just talk about standings.
Okay.
So Riker ended at the top at 37, followed by Willow and Nastia at 34. Rumor had 32. Chris had 31. Noah and Patty were tied at 29, and Robert was 28. So, how'd you feel about the bottom 3 this week? Who were they?
Well, we predicted pretty well last week who we thought might go home. And one of the people that we predicted did
Go home.
get to go home. Before we say goodbye to the person, who do you think might be in they have a double elimination next week. Who do you
Right.
think it might be?
So that means 2 are going to go home. I think it's going to be between Chris and Robert. I don't know that they can put Noah in the bottom 3. Was he in the bottom 3 last night?
Yeah, but you knew he was safe. That's like they put Riker in the bottom, you know, too. And I'm like, there's no way Riker's in the bottom, at least yet.
Yeah. So I would suspect that it'll be Chris and Robert. And who do you think?
Well, I think it might be Noah and Sharna. You know, I can't imagine it being Rumor. I can't imagine it being Riker. or Willow.
It could be Nastia.
Oh, you know what? It could be Nastia. It could be.
You know.
I would say, okay, so I would say Chris, Robert, and Nastia.
Okay.
And it might be Chris, and it could be Nastia. Let's say Chris and Nastia.
Okay.
And if it isn't, it'll be Chris and Robert. And watch it be Robert and Nastia. And it could be Allison and Riker. I don't know. But those are our predictions. If you have a prediction, just let us know.
Feel free to share with us your thoughts about last night's show.
Okay, let's move everybody over so we can say goodbye to our sweet Patty. Okay?
Ready?
Okay. All right. Bum, bum, bum. Another one bites the dust. Let's let her go off real jazzy. Bum. Another one bites the dust. And another one bites, and another one bites, and another one bites the
Dust.
Okay, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.